Let's get some balloons in the air. It's time for the first flight of 2018. Overlook Horizon 10 is launching today. Hey guys, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. It's flight day for our first flight of 2018, Overlook Horizon 10, nicknamed Shrimpy. The name Shrimpy for this flight represents today's primary mission, which is utilizing our brand new miniaturized flight computer system that will provide radio positioning reports back to us on the ground throughout the flight. In previous flights, we've used a much larger Arduino Mega-based platform that provided not only radio broadcasted positioning reports, but also performed battery monitoring, camera control, sensor readings for temperature and pressure, along with data recording onto an onboard SD card. Today's flight, though, is scaled way back. It's based around a tiny 3.3 volt Arduino Pro Mini, but still contains the same core functionality to relay GPS positioning reports, along with readouts of the flight's altitude, temperature, pressure, humidity, and battery level. This flight does not contain an onboard SD card, and it will not feature any onboard cameras. So what's the point? Well, this will be an alternative tracking platform to our larger tracking system. We're still keeping that larger Arduino Mega-based system, and that will be utilized multiple times this year for our larger flights with onboard cameras. We'll be using this miniaturized platform for other things, like a secondary tracking method for our larger flights, as well as a standalone system for riskier or experimental flight conditions where we might not get the payload back. Just like the Radiosonde flights performed over 200 times every day by the U.S. National Weather Service, this flight will feature a set of onboard weather sensors similar to what they would use when determining our daily weather forecasts. With any luck, we'll be able to generate a skew-T graph after the flight, just like the National Weather Service, and see how our graph compares to theirs. Ultimately, we hope to further this platform into an expendable payload where we can launch flights similar to the National Weather Service into interesting weather patterns while not having to worry about recovery efforts. This platform is a lot less expensive, but we're not quite to the point where we consider it a completely expendable platform. There are still a few cost-saving measures we'd like to implement, but this is the first step. Until then, we'll still be attempting to recover this one. This new tracking system weighs in at only 100 grams, which is less than 10% of what our usual payload weighs. Since this flight does not have any onboard cameras and it's experimental, we're going with a much smaller 200-gram balloon today to keep the flight short. Without any onboard cameras, it's not really essential to reach a super high altitude, so this flight is expected to only reach about 75,000 feet, which still sets a new record for us at the lowest maximum altitude yet. This payload is also flying completely exposed to the elements. Usually, our flight computer is encased within a styrofoam cooler, which keeps some of the heat contained so things don't get too cold. This payload has no thermal protection and will be completely exposed to temperatures down to almost negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew. There's a little bit of conformal coating on the boards to protect from minor moisture issues, but other than that, it's just a bare circuit board with some lithium batteries that will hopefully provide power throughout those frigid temperatures. Lastly, another experimental portion of today's flight is the parachute. This flight is so lightweight that a parachute is almost not even necessary, as the balloon fragments alone would likely be enough to slow down the payload just from aerodynamic drag. However, we're not going to take any chances, so we're including a tiny 18-inch parachute in line with today's flight. Our tests to date, though, indicate that even this tiny parachute may cause too much drag, so we may be seeing some extended downrange drifting today while the flight is under parachute. This extra horizontal drifting means we're at an increased chance of getting snagged in a tree, so hopefully we can avoid that if possible. So that's what's happening today. It's a smaller flight to kick off the 2018 season, but we're still excited to get started with something new. This is the first of at least 5 planned flights for this year, but we'll likely be doing more than that if the weather allows for it, so make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on those flights. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our live broadcasts, our in-flight videos, or the educational series videos that we do in between flights. So what do you guys think about today's flight? Do you think this thing will work? Will our flight computer freeze in the frigid mid-flight temperatures? Will we get stuck in another tree? We'll all find out together soon, but let us know what you think in the comments section down below. If you like this flight and you like what we do, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to learn more about today's flight, check out the links in the description below. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.